Finally, an update on the 78 Trans Am. Now this is a bit of a bittersweet video for me to make. As most of you know, this 78 Trans Am is pretty much my ultimate dream car. It took me a lot, in fact my entire life, to get to the point where I could finally get my hands on one and afford one. Although mechanically sound and also being a California car, relatively rust-free and in fairly okay shape, the car had a terrible paint job. And before I continue with this car, I have a lot of plans for it and it's going to be my forever car. I needed to take care of this very glaringly bad paint job and of course the bad bodywork on the one rear quarter panel. So rather than try and tackle it myself, I decided that for the first time in my life I would pay the big bucks and go to a professional shop. I knew it would cost a lot. In fact, the quote I was given was for pretty much the value of the car, you know, what the car is worth and how much I paid for it. And I decided, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to treat myself because this is my forever car. I'm going to take that money that I've been putting aside and saving and I'm going to put it down and get a proper job done. Now, I was told that it would take 2 months to complete the job, and, you know, I understand bodywork is really tough, and that made a lot of sense to me, and I was more than happy to let the car go for 2 months to get done. In fact, I thought that that was a very low estimate on time, considering that this car needs to go down to metal and be done properly. And the shop seemed pretty busy. I chose the shop based on reviews online on Google, and it has a 4.8 stars out of 5 and lots of glowing reviews. Of course, the majority of them are insurance. You know, when you get into a fender bender or you get into an accident, you send your car and their insurance pays for it. But all the reviews were very good. So I decided, okay, this is the shop I'll go for. The guys seemed very confident that they would be able to do a good job and tackle it properly, and I came off with a very good first impression of the shop. However, I have to say, in all reality, that I'm very disappointed so far. My car has been there for now 2 months, and the amount of work that's been done on it is exactly 1.5 days worth of work. The car had been sitting for over a month, and I'd been going in there every week, at least once, to check on the car and to drop off new parts, because that's the thing. I have a lot of confidence in these guys because they would tell me, hey, listen, we're going to need new front grills, we're going to need new molding, we're going to need this. So I ordered everything that they needed and I would drop it off when it arrived. And this was a convenient excuse for me to go to the shop and see the progress on my car. At least I thought that I would see progress on my car. But unfortunately, there was never any progress. It just sat there outside gathering dust. Eventually, after a month of nothing being done, but me checking up every week, they promised me that they get to work on it, and they did. On the one Monday, they obviously started stripping it down and put in about a day's, I'd say, to be honest, about a morning's worth of work. Don't forget, this is the kind of stuff I do. I know what kind of work is involved here. So they stripped off the spoilers and they stripped off the, you know, some of the side trim and some of the interior bits. Something I could have done myself in about an hour or two, in all honesty. And then it sat. And this is the worst part, it just sat outside, gathering dust with the roofs off, which is not what you want because, you know, I've got brand new carpets in there, I've got new expensive custom floor mats, I've got a brand new radio in there, I've got, you know, the interior is pretty good in the car, and it's just sitting outside gathering dust. Now, I was assured by the shop that it was being covered at night, but this is something I find very hard to believe, especially since the clips from the molding at the rear have been sitting up on the roof the whole time. And if you're going to put a cover over the car, it would have knocked those clips off. But they've always been in the same spot every week when I come to check on the car. And of course, all the dust and crap in the interior just shows that it hasn't been covered. And the fact that there's dust on the car, because the cover would be wiping it off when they take it on and put it off. Anyway, I finally had a bit of a confrontation with the owner of the shop. He had once again promised me that they would start to work on the car, and he said that they would spend the entire Friday, Saturday and Sunday working on it. So I came the next Tuesday with some new parts. whole boatload of parts, and guess what? Nothing had been done on the car. It hadn't been touched. And I finally picked up a bit of an angry tone and was very upset and asked, what the hell's going on really. And I also made it quite clear how important this was to all of you guys out there on YouTube. I'm sure, just like me, you're very curious to see how this car is going to turn out. And I guess it made him finally realize that he should get started, and he promised me that he would get started this week. This is now Monday afternoon. I've just returned from their shop, and yes, they have been working on it this morning. So what has been done so far? Well, like we had agreed, this car is going down to bare metal so we can see what's wrong with it, what needs to be repaired, and of course we're going to be getting a proper paint job. Now I do trust this shop's abilities. I've seen the kind of cars they have parked out back. They've got Ferraris and BMWs and all sorts of high-end cars, and they do a lot of insurance stuff, of course, but the fact that they can work on these expensive cars shows that they have the skill and the ability to do it. It's just the fact that they have not been prioritizing my car because they've got a bunch of other ones there. The thing is, this doesn't change the fact that I made an appointment, and in early September, the first week of September, I dropped the car off, and that was the deal. They had me in the schedule, so my car should have been scheduled to be worked on. I had a nice chat with the owner, and he did apologize to me because now that they've finally started working on the car, he told me that he'd lost some staff due to the whole COVID situation. Staff had to go back to Mexico and hadn't returned and that sort of thing. And yeah, I understand. We're living in a challenging time right now. At the end of the day, it's still not a good enough excuse. I can understand it. I'm very understanding. If things are going wrong because of the whole COVID situation and staff is short or whatever, I'm totally fine with that. But the fact of the matter is, the shop hasn't even called me once to update me on the car. Every time I've been there, it's been promise after promise and nothing really came of it. So I'm very much teetering on the edge here. They've started. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because from what they've done so far, it's looking good. But it's still up to them to prove to me whether or not they're worth the money I'm spending to get this car fixed. And you can bet that I'll be giving you more frequent updates because now I'm going to go in there weekly to give you guys updates on how the car is going. I am incredibly excited because we're starting to see just exactly what this car is all about, and so far it's looking good, other than that terrible quarter panel of course, but who knows what else is going to be uncovered, so stay tuned, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Until then, you know the drill. Keep it between the ditches, keep it the rubber on the road and all that other car stuff, and just don't roll over into a tree or whatever, and I'll see you next time.